I just had to get this one out there. And I think a lot of people who are just now learning about antinatalism or even nihilism, all these sort of black pill ideologies. One thing that I think we need to make very, very clear about antinatalism is that human extinction is not the goal of antinatalism. Human extinction is not the goal, right? I don't know where people get this whacked out fucking belief from. That, we are part of this. And I'll even use some natalist justifications, right? We are organisms in this reality, and we have a right to be here. We do. We really do. We do. Right? I think if we do have that right, we also have a right to be free of exploitation, especially the kind of exploitation that exists today. Sadly, that isn't the case. But either way, right? The goal of antinatalism is not to completely halt births or anything. It uses childbirth it uses the rejection of childbirth as a point of entry, right? That's what it does. Because people become antinatalists after they've had children, right? So if somebody's had a child and they're coming and they're like, I'm antinatalist, can you really push them away, right? If you at least tell the kid that, if they tell their kids that it's not their fault and everything, but they realize that having kids here is a mistake. As long as they do it in a compassionate way towards their children. If they're a natalist and they're using antinatalism because they made a stupid decision and they're also making the kid pay for it, I don't think that's a very useful person to have around in the movement. So you have to remember that human beings are not the problem. Are we savage? Yes. Are we fucking heartless at times? A lot of the times, yes. Are we exploitative? Yes. Right? It is also the systems that we have justified and the lies that uphold those systems that do more damage to us than other human beings themselves, right? Yes, we are the ones who carry out that damage finally, but you have something so intrinsic to your self-identity as a religion, more so an Abrahamic religion, for example, right? Or any kind, really. Any kind of rigid belief system and tradition that especially focuses on the future generation or the new generation or reproducing the new generation, right? Our goal is to eliminate exploitation. That to me seems like a reasonable goal, honestly. Eliminating exploitation, especially use whoever's definition you want, right? Eliminating exploitation is the goal. It is not the extinction of the human fucking race. Please stop saying this shit. It is actually incredibly stupid and immature, honestly. It is incredibly stupid, right? Because you're the kind of people, if you say this, you're the kind of person who will get into a position of power. You'll be so smart and end up somewhere close enough to the nuclear codes or in a lab or something, right? And just cause 3 different pandemics just because it fits your goals, right? Oh yeah, no more human suffering, I guess, or no more humans are going extinct now, right? Which is fucking stupid. Incredibly fucking stupid, right? You can't tell me that, if you believe that human extinction is the goals, then the ends justify the means by default. By default, you can't tell me it's different from if the last group of people on Earth collectively decided to not bear children, if they collectively, I don't know, had some sort of vasectomy or tubes tied or whatever, right? That they mean it, they truly mean it. Yeah, you could say humanity went extinct, but it was a voluntary extinction in that sense, right? The last humans left type of thing. But at the same time, we as antinatalists understand that us not reproducing means we won't have a legacy anymore. We would leave a mark on this one. Man, it's that to me, even saying the term voluntary extinction, right? I think it still doesn't sit quite right with a lot of us. But that is what you're doing essentially. You're the human line that you descend from in particular is going extinct with you not reproducing. But then, okay, you could have siblings and they could have kids, right? But your line in particular, there will be no more humans bared from your line. And I personally think that's a very good thing, especially in the system that we live in right now. If we lived in a system that was not this fucked and just torturous for the majority of human beings, by the way, if we lived in that kind of system, I probably wouldn't mind having kids even then. I'd be more likely to have kids in that kind of situation, right? But it's not necessarily something I'd be like, oh yeah, time for me to have like 8 different kids or something. It is about, if you as a group take a stand that you're not going to reproduce the next generation, if a movement like that takes hold well enough, they will have to address it, right? They will just have to address it. Like a lot of governments are across the world, if you notice, a lot of them are pushing the jobs for the youth angle, right? Let's listen to the problems of the youth, the youth of the future, blah, 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 blah. They're really pushing that angle now because they realize so many of us are not fucking voting. We're not. We're not participating in their system in the way that they said it's our right to participate in this. Voting is bullshit, by the way. Another video on that, maybe later on. We're not participating in their system in the ways that they say give us freedom, right? And they don't know whether or not we've caught on to it. Most people haven't, but I'd say there's definitely a decent amount of people who have started catching on to it, right? But either way, they're operating from a place of, have they caught on to us? Maybe you should start talking about fucking, maybe you should get somebody to do one of those TikTok dances or something. Get a politician to do a TikTok. Yeah, that will work. Yeah. That's honestly how I think they sound in the fucking back rooms. Get Hillary Clinton to do the dab on the haters. Ugh. They have to now talk to us in a way that we want to be talked to. And that's what everybody wants, really. But the thing is, when a young person wants that as well, it is so disrespected and sidelined and disregarded. It's like, stay in your place, right? Stay in your place until you realize, hey, you just might own the place. And they're telling you to stay in your place, So when that kind of collective, it's an uncoordinated collective action. And I think, to me, the best path for antinatalism is to be an uncoordinated collective action. That a lot of people come to that conclusion themselves without ever even into contact with an antinatalist speech or whatever. Just coming to that conclusion themselves, right? Because it's the same way, like, people are rejecting the vote, right? They're just not even going. The young people especially are rejecting voting. They're not going to vote. It's not like there was like a whole campaign of don't vote. People just said, yeah, no, I'm just going to stay in my room, play video games, and eat fucking Doritos when everyone's going to vote. And millions of people just do that, right? Millions of other young people just do that. I think antinatalism should operate in that same way. But now you have to figure out what the fuck caused that, right? What the hell caused so many people to not want to vote anymore? So many young people in particular. What caused them? What caused us to know? Okay, yes, we know, right? But now we're speaking as antinatalists because this is still an ideology that's so nebulous and foreign to a lot of people. But when you're in this, you realize it's just a very intrinsic truth about this reality. It's a prison, it's an asylum, it's a place where anything can happen to your child at any time, inside of them, outside your house. I don't think I am not a gambling man, but even those odds seem kind of fucked up to me, right? And in that, right, I really believe once a lot of people have said, without a doubt, that I'm not having children anymore, and not from any concerted. Fuck, I hate English sometimes. Not from any like deliberate campaign, right? To force people into not having kids, which I don't believe in coercion. I don't believe in domineering or coercive ideologies in that sense, right? Especially if it's something that you're selling to people in terms of compassion. I don't believe in that at all. That is the wrong way to try and sell antinatalism to people, or to get people on board with it, right? Let me not even say sell. Fuck this fucking system and always buying and selling shit. So you have to get the idea out of your head that human beings need to be exterminated. They do not. Human beings do not need to be exterminated. We have lived in relative harmony on this planet, for the vast majority of our like 99%. Okay, the emergence of Homo sapiens can be dated to like at least 100,000 years ago. Some say 300,000 years ago. I don't know. Let's just go with 100,000 years ago, right? That Homo sapiens, our most modern ancestors of that time, right? The first emergence of our ancestors. From that point onwards, till about 10,000 years ago, we were living, I don't want to say harmony, but we were living as natural beings in this place, you know. Yes, sure, we probably still killed each other. Yeah, we probably still hunted animals and all that kind of stuff. But something happened 10,000 years ago, and it has just been exploit, conquer, enslave, exploit, conquer, enslave. Ooh, industrialization, oil, time to dig and fucking poison wells and fucking break coral reefs, bleach, pollute, just, you know. This is something that is very recent in our existence as organisms in this reality. It's very recent. So don't fix things like this on humans as like immutable traits, right? We are adaptable, and we condition ourselves to where we are and what we find ourselves in, right? And you as an antinatalist should believe that we humans can condition ourselves to do better, to be better, right? To stop the future generation from even coming into fruition, because we have to get a handle on shit right now before you can even think about a future generation, right? And then from that, you know, really truly value the essence of a human life. Because when you do that, when you choose not to bring another human life here, and then you value the human lives around you, I honestly believe there's an amplifier effect, right? They'll see that this person doesn't have any kids, or and yet he's so helpful to everybody else, or she's so helpful to everybody else, and she's always doing this and that, right? And yet they do it because, like, it's so easy for natalists to spin shit like, you know, they're just lonely, that's why they're doing it. But everyone is fucking people who are married and have like 4 kids are some of the loneliest fucking people on the planet, right? I hate that fucking shaming tactic. It's so pathetic, because it's literally these fucking natives that are like, my kids made me hate my life, or my husband or my wife made me hate my life, blah blah. Like, okay, sure thing, bud, you know. So, you know, be of service to the humans that you know will be of service to others, right? Don't waste your energy on 99% of these people. Like I've said before, they are fucking bots. They will not change. They will not react. You could tell them literally, they could all know that the emperor has no clothes, and they will still say how good he looks with his clothes on, right? But there are still people there that you can help right now, right? Even any small ways that you can, right? And it will amplify, and a lot of people, right, through those subtle actions, right, helping the next person. And that's the crazy thing. If everybody decided to help the next human being, even in a small way, the world would immediately be a much, much better place, right? If every human being decided, hey, let me help this person next to me, or the person, you know, the world would immediately be such a better place. But that's too much for most people. But that's okay, because you're not most people, right? You know, as much as I shit on the Bible, I have met some really, really good Christians who are like, they genuinely devote their lives, even Muslims as well. You know, even uh like priests, dare I say, right? Catholic priests. There were some who have been really, really nice and kind-hearted people, right? Genuinely helping the next human being or human beings in need and everything. And that's the thing. If you use your spirituality in that way, even if you believe in a horrendous ass ideology, it will still be your effort. You can say I did it for this or this god or that god. That's regardless. It's irrelevant to me, right? But if you're doing that out of your own, the kindness of your heart, right? I think that's a good thing. I do, right? You can separate the ideology from the person. You really can. Even though the person themselves might internalize the ideology as their fundamental, like as core to their personality, I don't care. Right? You can respect somebody's humanity and dignity and their actions while still, I just don't you just love how nowadays all they say is it's my religious belief and you have to respect all religious beliefs. Bruh, there's not a single religion that respects other religions' religious beliefs. Like very, very fucking few. Very few of them actually do it, right? Abrahamic religions definitely don't do it. I'm pretty sure Hinduism doesn't do it. Buddhism isn't really, it's not necessarily a religion, right? And the more later strains of Buddhism have demonstrated that it is just a way of life. Like, yes, it's ritualistic, but it's not a religion, personally, right? But either way, if this was like 200 years ago or 300 years ago, you wouldn't be telling me to respect your religious beliefs. You'd be calling me a fucking heretic and gathering a fucking mob and trying to burn me alive, right? Now they have to say, respect my religious beliefs, blah, blah, blah. Even though they disrespect other religious beliefs behind closed doors, right? I'll disrespect them behind closed doors and open doors. Fuck you, right? But in any case, you don't have to respect somebody's religious beliefs. You can do it if you want to, right? You don't have to, though. But you can still respect their humanity, right? You can still respect their humanity and their personhood. And you can remind them of the personhood of all other human beings. And you even have to remind other antinatalists about the personhood and humanity of other human beings, right? If you're somebody who's really driven by empathy and compassion in that way, and you also feel that it's something you want to do actively, like you can just be an anti-natalist and chill. Like I don't mind chilling. I don't really go to every person I know and be like, don't have kids, don't have kids. I just do it on here because it's an outlet for me and I find other people who think like me, right? But if you really want to do it actively, you really you want to be driven by that compassion and empathy, but at the same time have that sense of that sense of indifference, right? You can't really you have no expectations really, right? Because there's not much you can really do to sway people's ideas here. If you really had the kind of influence that you think you do, you would not be listening to this fucking video, that's for sure. So, just realize how much more compassionate or empathetic can you be, even just to yourself, man. Just to yourself, man. Just look at yourself and just compliment yourself. You can insult yourself, like, let's say 40% of the time, but 60% of the time it should be compliments, right? So please, and I know this is fucking rich coming from somebody like me and the shit that I've repeatedly said about humanity, but do as I say, not as I do, right? That's the fucking motto, isn't it? But thanks so much for listening, guys.